Hello everybody. Today we're going to do a little video on the proper gear to bring when you're going to either do a recovery, going off-roading, or just in general, and kind of we're going to touch on some of the tools that I think, that you think,
I definitely think
that you should bring along to be able to repair yourself or even help a buddy out on the trail. So I obviously do most of my recoveries in a 1-ton long box diesel, which is a lot of overkill for what you need, and a lot of places you can't fit it. So that's another thing. A lot of our recoveries are in wide open spaces to where we can use longer ropes. I can fit a bigger truck, and when we get into those tighter areas, this truck doesn't work near as well, which is why we have things like the 4Runner or Jeeps to be able to get into tighter spots. And a lot of times you want a shorter rope for that. But I'll start with let's start up here. If it's within the budget, this here is going to be your #1 best friend. A winch. Whether it is for recovering yourself or recovering your buddy. I have really fallen in love with the synthetic rope stuff, just because it's so much lighter, easier to mess with. You don't get the snake bites out of it. It's all that good stuff, and they're reliable. I mean, and they're not too badly priced. This is an X-Bowl off of Amazon, and I've found they're about 400 and some bucks. This is a 13,000 pound winch, and it's 400 and some bucks with synthetic rope already on it. Comes with the Fairlead, comes with a wireless remote. It's a lot slower than, like, say, Sterling's Warren Xeon winch, but I've never had this thing fail. It either pulls this truck or pulls out whatever I'm pulling out, and it always works. It's slow, but it works good. That's my #1 thing if you're going to go off-roading. Get a winch and a winch bumper, put it on your rig if it's in the budget.
And those winches take lots of abuse.
And yes, this one obviously we do all of our recoveries with it, and we do more than the average duck. So that's #1. Alright, now at the back end of these automobiles, we've got a few points to cover, but I think the next thing I'd like to point out is recovery points. I have hooks up front. Sterling has hooks up front. Sterling has D-rings, and he has a hitch that he goes in the back. I love my Pentel hitch. If you can get a Pentel hitch type receiver, everything fits in them. Chains, ropes, soft shackles, everything.
Right here.
Yep. And then on top of that, I also have lights all over it. You can never have too many lights, because every time your buddy gets stuck, it's either starts in the daylight and ends in the dark, or it starts in the dark and ends in the dark. Sometimes we've even had one where it started in the dark and ended in daylight.
Yep, we got to watch the sunrise together.
And, of course, it's a given, the high lift, handyman, jackhaul, whatever you want to call it. A high lift jack is what you always want to have with you. And of course, a little bit of manual labor never hurt nobody. Whether this is just for digging out to be able to get to a tow point, or whether it's just to get that clump of mud that's really holding you up to break the tires, because a lot of the mud we deal with creates a ton of suction on the tires, and sometimes that's about the best way to break the suction. Now in snow recoveries, I actually carry a different scoop shovel type, a snow shovel essentially, because these don't move very much snow. A snow shovel is far better for that.
Yeah, and like little snowcat recovery shovels, I break them.
Yeah.
Just break the handles right off.
And of course, I carry no battery powered equipment on this. I don't carry jumper boxes, I don't carry power tools, and I do carry flashlights and things of that nature, but I carry a repeated amount of flashlights because with the way things go with me, if it's battery powered, it's dead. So I found the jumper cables seem to work the best for me. This truck is equipped with 3 batteries, so jumper cables seem to work the best. So this truck is actually not equipped with any lockers, but with the amount of spring flex and frame flex I get with it, it actually gets around pretty well. But I also highly recommend lockers in your automobile. They get around so much better. And of course, some oversized mud tires help. I hardly ever can afford tires with tread, so pretty much all my tires, all Sterling's tires too, are pretty much bald. But the bald tires still get you around pretty good. A bald TSL will get you around better than pretty much any highway tire just because of the open lug pattern.
Especially for what we do.
So, as far as tools go, now obviously this is way overkill for anyone ever. We do a ton of work on other people's rigs. So I try to carry an array of everything, and I have a service box on this truck, so I can afford to carry all that. You can probably do all the stuff that I recommend for the average person to haul in a regular, little bag. But I carry full sets of 1/2 inch and 3/8 drive, mostly standard. I do have some metric because everything nowadays is metric, but almost everything on my truck and a lot of the people that we run with out of older rigs is standard. I carry a full set of ratchet wrenches. That is totally unnecessary because you got to remember, same with the cordless tools, ratchet wrenches, all that stuff. You're not out there to build a new rig. You're out there to trail fix and get them home to where they can get it fixed properly. So I have the room for ratchet wrenches, so I carry ratchet wrenches. I also carry your metrics, and I found that these wrench rolls are awesome for off-road. Keeps everything kind of organized and together. Again, set of wrenches, a little overkill. You probably don't need to carry up to 1 1/4 inch. Your basic channel locks are always a good idea. Needle nose are a given. I carry a pipe wrench because sometimes you need a pipe wrench. This is kind of unnecessary. It's a radiator cap remover. Side cutters. You need side cutters. And then, of course, all of your crimping and electrical tools and slip joints. I found that a tool that does more than one job is an excellent tool to carry with you. Multimeter, test light, things for testing electrical is very important. And I carry a multitude of hammers. You can probably get away with one. This is like 40 ounce. If you got like one 32 ounce, I'd prefer a 32 ounce if I could only have one. A wire brush. I found I use my wire brush a fair amount. Some miscellaneous extensions and stuff because, again, we do a lot of work. And this is the cupboard that I find that a lot of people should carry. You should carry at least a couple butt splices, female and male connector ends, things of that nature, because they always fail. And to go along with that, I like to carry a little bit of wire so you can patch whatever wire wound up in your drive line or whatever. Of course, fuses is a given. I carry some other miscellaneous snap rings, cotter keys. If you can fit only 5 or 6 of them, those are well worth packing with you. Some cotter pins. And a lot of these tools, that's another thing. A lot of these tools, you notice, aren't Snap-on. They're not Mac. They're not even expensive brands. And for one, I'm broke. But for two, I find that whenever you're doing a repair on something, it's muddy, it's dirty, and again, half the time it's dark. And these tools, no matter how organized you try to be, they end up in the dirt, they end up in the mud, or they just grow legs and walk off. So I'm always having to replace tools in this truck because they're always going missing. Fuel line. Fuel line is a big deal to carry, but make sure that if you carry fuel line, you're carrying hose clamps right along with it, because fuel lines, usually if you burst the line, you need the clamps, which I am not seeing. Oh, here they are. And make sure that the hose clamps fit the fuel line that you're, because that's been an issue before. Some more cotter pins, O-rings. If you know the O-ring size on your rig, carry some O-rings. And then of course, I carry again an abundance because we work on a lot of other people's stuff. But nuts and bolts. Figure out the nuts and bolts on some of your important suspension components, some of the ones that screw into the front of the head and such like that. Carry around some nuts and bolts so you can fix yourself or even patch up somebody else. And then of course, one of the best things that anyone ever invented, the zip tie. Never ever can you carry too many zip ties, and never ever can you carry too many ratchet straps. Ratchet straps are the tie rod fixing, topper holding on, door closing, magical tool. They fix everything.
This is making me realize how much stuff I don't have.
And again, right along with the ratchet strap.
Yep.
A little bit of mechanics wire goes a long ways for fixing that odd end piece that fell off. This is also a bit of a unique tool that I carry. I don't use it very often. I do carry a 12-volt air compressor on this truck for airing up. I think, Sterling, you've got onboard air on your truck. But if you don't have onboard air, this is a 25-foot air hose with a clip-on air chuck on one side and a regular air chuck on the other side. And what you can do is you can hook that up to somebody's tire and you can air up your tire off of their tire. They call it an air stealer. It's super cheap to put together. It takes up very little room. And you can air up either off your other 3 tires or off of somebody else's tire without even having an air compressor, needing power or anything.
No, it does work because we've done it.
We have had to use it a time or two, yes. We'll get to the rigging here in a minute. I also like to carry a tarp. Tarps are small, cheap.
They're nice for working on stuff.
A piece of Tyvek or something like that would work just as well. And it's just for when you toss that drive line in the middle of the creek bed, you don't have to lay in the mud. A funnel or two, that's always a good idea. Let's go around to the other side and check out a few more things I like to carry. So on this side, I carry a lot of the spare fluids. This is my 3rd battery. Not necessary, but it sure is handy to have a 3rd battery for jump starting and everything else. Duh. Do I need to explain it?
Yeah, that stuff comes in handy.
I carry this little unique deal, and I found it to be quite handy. This is a butane. It's kind of hard to see it on camera. You see it glowing right there? This is a butane soldering iron. All it takes is gas. Doesn't take any batteries or anything else. You got to fill it up with butane like you would a fancy lighter or something. Very handy, always full, ready to go. And to go along with that, of course, I carry solder because to solder you need solder. Patch a radiator, fix a wire.
Patch a radiator hose. I'm like Jamie, I don't have a fancy soldering iron. I wait for him, and I got my own solder.
Razor scraper always comes in handy. If you have the old style and you got to get in there to do your hubs, socket like that's handy for doing your axle nuts. I carry lots and lots of the black tape. You never have too much black tape. This is another one. Explains itself. A little bit of toilet paper. Maybe not a tool, but it definitely a necessity.
Yeah, definitely a necessity. I think that's the most important thing.
This is a spare winch controller. Wireless winches or wireless remotes on winches are awesome, but the batteries go dead when you misplace them. Whatever.
Lose them in your dash.
Always, yeah, lose them in your dash. Always carry a spare winch controller. I carry a miniature tap and die set. It's not necessarily crucial, but it's kind of nice to have sometimes. And of course, a little bit of brake clean, a little bit of WD-40. I carry spare oil. I carry propane because I carry a propane torch. Starting fluid, lots and lots of starting fluid. This truck likes starting fluid. And you also want to carry a fair amount of this. A little bit of black RTV. Silicone for patching whatever. I highly recommend, if you can, to carry Right Stuff. Right Stuff sticks to everything and goes forever. Something else I'd recommend that I don't think I actually carry in here is JB Weld and stuff. There's all my metric sockets I keep in here. They're kind of spread throughout. You got to kind of remember where everything is. Allen wrenches, 1/4-inch drive stuff. And then in this one, I carry a grinder and an extension cord because this truck has an inverter. And I found that I can do almost anything that you do with a Sawzall with a grinder. And again, it's a corded grinder. If the truck runs and is charging, I can use it. It's not battery operated. It works phenomenally. Now I believe that that's a soldering gun because why not?
Just in case we run out of butane.
Right here, the Blackjack tire repair kit. I'm having a hard time finding stuff for it. I need to go dig on the internet a little bit more. But this is, I've been through a lot of these. The Harbor Freight plug kit. the plastic handle that breaks off and the freaking thing jabs you in the hand.
No good.
That is extra emergency. These here, look at these fellas.
Those are the Cadillacs of plug-in holes.
They come with a ton of plugs. They hold on like crazy. You even get a valve stem tool on a screwdriver. I mean, and we have used this a lot for fixing everything. I mean, I've plugged sidewalls with it. I've done everything. These are a must. Carry a plug kit. It maybe doesn't need to be this big and eccentric, but carry a plug kit. And it looks like my air compressor's not in here right now, but I do have a 2-piston 12-volt air compressor that moves quite a bit of air. I really like that.
That one works great.
For airing up tires, and to go along with airing up tires, if you have not 16.5s like me, you can also carry a deflator. And something else I highly recommend everybody carry, they make valve stems that insert from the outside of the wheel, and then you thread them down and they swell up to fit the wheel. I highly recommend carrying a couple, 3 of those, because you never know when you're going to lose a valve stem. Now this is a bit of a sad look here. This is my first aid kit, and I have narrowed it down to very little here, because I have found that this is about the best. Of course, you got your variety of band-aids. You got your Neosporin, because even when you're in the woods, you can disinfect. I carry a couple things of gauze and vet wrap. Now, most of what, if you can get somebody to the hospital with this, I've found. About no matter how bad the injury, you can just wrap this right up around.
If it gets too serious, grab the Gorilla Tape.
Yeah, and then you can put the Gorilla Tape on. And then you just vet wrap it. It'll slow the bleeding. It'll get you to the doctor. And of course, whether you're working on a paint touch-up, or you got a piece of metal in your eye, or you got to dab a rock out of your knee, Q-tips are the 1,000,001 tool right there. I highly recommend Q-tips all the time with you. Alright, and Sterling also pointed out to me it's probably a good idea to carry some alcohol. But something else I'm going to add to this first aid kit right here in front of you. Your ordinary zip tie, right?
Yeah.
All I see here is a tourniquet.
Yeah, I mean, it'd work in a pinch.
That would work. I think it would work better than a belt. You can really crank this puppy down. So we'll throw out the first aid kit, because we don't really use zip ties that big for much else.
And since we're always working on stuff,
Yep.
we got an axe.
Carry around an axe. Doesn't have to be necessarily a nice one.
Doesn't have to be sharp.
It's not very sharp. But an axe or a chainsaw. I carry a chainsaw if I know I'm going to be. And that's something else about like chainsaws, corded tools, things of that nature. If I know that I'm going to need to work on something where I need a corded tool or a chainsaw or something, I throw it in the truck before I leave, because it makes my life easier. I do have a split maul in here, because that's why not. This is a cookie tin full of spare parts and stuff. Oh, and in the last cupboard you probably saw the come-along. Come-alongs are always a good idea.
Works good on the crane.
This here has been a pretty good purchase that we use a fair amount. It's a little bit on the cumbersome side and takes up a lot of room. But if you know you're going to be doing U-joints and stuff, it slides into your receiver hitch. It's got a anvil built onto the top there. And it's a good Wilton vise. And I've got the room, so I carry it. It works a lot better than doing it on your bumper or something else. And if you're doing a lot of recoveries and winching and stuff, just some nice tire chocks help you out.
To the bottom.
Fire extinguisher. Carry fire extinguishers. Carry more than one. Carry 5, however many you can fit. It's always a good idea. Make sure to have them tested, unlike mine where it's just been sitting here for 50 years. Hard to get to. Everything else.
If you think about it, you're supposed to shake them up like every 3 months.
Yeah, I shake mine up every time I drive it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All right. Recovery gear. Kinetic ropes. This is a Yankum kinetic rope. Recovery guy's best friend right here.
Yeah.
This one is a scooch small for the, I guess this is a 7/8. I guess they're both 7/8, aren't they? Yeah. So these are both 7/8 Yankum ropes. 30-footers. And again, we work at a lot of the wide open spaces. If your climate has a lot of trees and tight trails, I recommend like a 10 or 15-footer. I believe they make all of them. But these are very high quality. A little on the expensive side, but well worth it. I've had cheaper ones and I broke. And when these things break, they really pack a wallop. They are just awesome. In fact, I've completely gone away. I'll show you here in a minute a strap that we had that we used to use, the flat straps. I've pretty much completely gone away from straps. In fact, the only flat strap I carry is this one, which is good for 60,000 pounds. And in all honesty, that is when you've got 3 or 4 winches on one rig. That strap will handle it. I mean, it is a monster of a strap.
Yeah, 7-8 inches wide.
And yep. And that's the only flat strap I'd use, and I'd never hit it like I hit these. I also carry one very heavy duty chain that works really good for hooking multiple winches too. And then I carry one 3/8 chain. And the 3/8 chain is mostly just for either tying myself to an anchor or just, you always need a chain for something. I highly recommend a chain. If I had 2 things that I could bring with me to do recovery, it'd be a chain and a Yankum rope. As to go with along all those, D-rings are kind of getting outdated. I like to carry, I've got 3 different sizes here. I got a big one, a medium one, and this one's my smallest one I carry because I don't play with stuff much smaller than that. But sometimes you need it just to get into those tight spaces or whatever. They're not super great because if they break, they fly apart and can hurt people, but sometimes you need them. Bungee cords never hurt. And then I also carry replacement chain links that pin. So if we do happen to break a chain or something, I can fix it right there. Go along with kinetic ropes and all that other stuff. For one, this has turned into being one of my favorite pieces too here. It's a tree saver, but it does a lot more than that. It's just a short flat strap and works really good for winching off of trees or even having to snatch block off a tree, whatever. And then it also works really good for if you got a spoked wheel. You can actually run this through the spoked wheel and be able to pull sideways on a rig really good. These here, soft shackles. Soft shackles work awesome for everything. You want to get one out of one of them black bags there, Sterling? You can never carry too many soft shackles, but I will say the quality of a soft shackle does make a pretty big difference. This is a Yankum soft shackle that has been heavily used, as you can see, and it's my favorite. And the difference in a Yankum soft shackle and the Amazon Special or whatever is just, see the knot size is so much smaller. Even just the size of the materials is a lot smaller, and these things just being a bear trying to get over each other, especially when they're covered in mud and everything else. These are good, they work. I haven't ever broke one, but if you have a choice, this is a far better product, and it works so much smoother in the mud, in the crud, in the dark, in the cold. It don't care, and it's still holding on great. I've put way more stress than they want you to put on there, and it still works. You can't read the label no more. This one actually has been alright. This is one of those Badland ones from Harbor Freight. It's actually been a decent soft shackle. Sometimes the loop gets a little hard to spread and stuff, but been a decent one. And then this one is this is the New Age snatch block, and they actually make them a lot fancier than this now. But if you're running a synthetic rope on your winch, you pretty much have to carry one of these because the aluminum wheel on the soft line is a lot better than a steel snatch block and stuff. And they've become handy because you can soft shackle it onto whatever. So I highly recommend carrying as many soft shackles as you can. I think I carry 6 or 7 at all times because you just never know what you're hooking together or nothing. And then it probably wouldn't even be a bad idea to carry a couple of these. Now the cool thing is obviously you can take this apart and you can throw this in a toolbox and you've still got a perfectly good soft shackle. You can put this on any soft shackle that you want, and just an awesome little deal there. Works super good. I've been super happy. It's just been awesome. And again, they've got a lot nicer ones than this. I just haven't been able to afford one yet. I need to go through and buy some more of those Yankum soft shackles. So like I said, I carry flashlights. I got 2 winch remotes.
And a spare tire.
Spare tire never hurts. Here's another tool you people will like. A tool that does more than one job.
Yes.
This is a Klein nut driver, and it is magnetic, and it is 5/16 on one end, and it's 1/4 inch on the other end. Covers all of your hose clamps in one go, and that's where I keep my screwdrivers. I really found I like this little magnetic deal. It kind of hangs out on here. I mean, we go over some nasty stuff and it hangs out, and you can put all your screwdrivers, your bar tool, whatever you want on there, and so you can stick it right to the side of your rig if you got a metal rig. But I guess that's kind of about everything I carry on here. I carry a lot more than I need. There's a winch extension in there. I love a winch extension. If you could have the room to carry one, I highly recommend it. Just to get that, you know, I got a 80 foot of rope on that winch, and we've done recoveries at like 400 feet because we have to use wrench extensions. I actually carry about a 200 foot length of cable, and I don't really like using it, but it's what I got. So we can really stretch the length out quite a ways
And
and
it works.
be able to winch. It works. But I'll let Sterling kind of go over his rigging and what he likes to do. And again, this is kind of our big, wide open spaces truck. I have taken on some way too skinny trails. This box has got some tree rubbage on it, but that's basically what I like, and I found that works. There's a lot more that I could add to it. I'm never done adding.
Always room for growth.
There's always room for growth, always room for improvement. And again, you don't need the best tools. I do recommend the best recovery gear that you can afford, because it's a lot easier to keep track of recovery gear than it is a pair of channel locks or something like that. So let's go look at Sterling's pour run.
Yeah, let's take a gander.
Just real quick, I was talking about flat straps. These, I believe, if I remember right, were rated for 30,000.
Yep.
Is the braking strength they said. And as you can see, that's what happens when you try to yank with them. And now, in the old days before the kinetic ropes, shoot, Sterling, how many of these things did we go through? These are like the local like $30, $40, $50 flat straps you get. And I don't know, we probably broke, I had like 10 or 15 of these at once. And we've broken all of them. And
Broken every single one.
I mean, I don't even like using them for pulling people out of the ditch in the winter. They're tough, and they probably work good for a nice slow pull. But as far as being able to hit them,
Yeah, you do that. You break it, and then you tie it, and then you break it,
yeah,
and then you tie it. And you
yeah,
break
that
it.
one's this one's actually been broken several times. We need to tie some more knots in it.
Yeah,
There's still a lot of strap there.
we can make it. We can make it work. I'm the perfect example of what not to carry, I guess. Not really. I got some of the stuff. First things first. I carry a hammer in my front seat because sometimes starters don't work.
Starters never work.
I always keep a knife in the truck just in case guy wants an apple. A watch that doesn't work. Yeah, that's not what's in there. Oh yeah, well then I have a wedge too. Somebody ripped my steering wheel. Yeah, I got a nice winch. And I got some, starting fluid. I think we'll call that some power steering fluid. Oil, a nice light bar. I still have the steel stuff on there because it hasn't broke. Yeah, and a big bumper so I can push stuff. But now,
And here's something else that I kind of forgot to point out. If you notice, both of us are carrying one.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah. Because whether you're on the trail and there's trash on the trail, all this trash on public land, private land, anywhere, that stuff's gonna get us closed down. Carrying a trash bag, I encourage people to throw trash in my trash bag when they're done with their soda, water, whatever. Throw it in there. I don't care. I'll take it to the dump once a week and empty it, and it's just handy. It's right there. These bags are awesome because all the juices and everything else just kind of leak out. They don't get in the way. They're pretty durable. I mean, Sterling, yours has been living outside for like 2 years now, and it still looks.
yeah, it still looks like it's brand new.
And you can just hang it off your spare tire, off your
I got some mule string on there.
light, off whatever. They're just an awesome little extra that
Oh, and it's nice too, cause yeah, all the juices drain. I drive down the highway.
Yep.
It's right there.
And the top stays closed, so nothing really blows out of it. It's just a really good idea to carry a trash bag with you.
And to carry a spare tire. So whenever I got this far, and I was like, man, I need to come up with a solution on how to carry stuff and kind of be organized. Well, it came to me one day when I was at what was it? We went to a snow bash event, and I happened to win a little toolbox. I think it's meant to go in Jeeps, but it's not that organized. But I also have a nice Yankum rope because it's handy. It does the job. I have a hitch that goes in, but I don't leave it in because I can't open my back with it in. So that's inconvenient. And then that I do have soft shackles. Mine aren't nearly as used as Jamie's. It goes to show you how much I do. But I always carry this. This has been in here for, well, I don't know, 2 years. Because I always break the front end of this thing, or people need to use one, but it's still got half battery life on it. I have a weird shackle. Oh, look, I do have a ratchet strap. And I got the tickets as well. And brake cleaner. And then my mystery bag of goodies. That is, you never know what you're going to find in there. I got extension, tape measure, dielectric grease, tank weld. You know, you never know when you're going to need that. If you got a really stubborn oil filter on this trail. Easy outs. I've used those on the trail. Don't know when you're going to have to change the hot water heater element. But I got the tool to do it. And then just random crescent wrenches, ratchet wrenches. You know, you ever wonder where some of your stuff goes, and then you're looking and you're like, oh, that's super duper rusty things that don't work. I don't even know. Handsaw.
Quality.
It is super quality. And I do have some hose clamps in here. I don't have any spare fuel. Got random bolts. I think I had, what is this? A thread locker, a little razor blade. You know, it's just weird things that I carry in here that actually kind of do, like, I use. Oh yeah, remember I was telling you? I do carry solder, but no way to use it. And then I have jumper cable
socket sets in here too.
Well, that one's like missing stuff.
I see.
And then, you know, you might need bits. You know, you never know.
And you've actually got your electric chainsaw in here too, huh?
Yeah. And so I gotta carry a chainsaw because for where we live, you go in the woods, especially windy like it's been. Trees are gonna be down. And just do the nice thing. Cut it off the road.
And of course, he's got a high lift jack in there, all nice and pretty.
Got a high lift jack. My shovel that's been like, I don't know what happened to it. Got some cool anti. Always carry some mule
string. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Mule string. And then I have new parts that are meant to go on this thing, but they'll stay on until I break something. And I do have a fire extinguisher. You can kind of see it. Fire extinguisher there. There's my sweet onboard air. No wonder it gets so ornery. It's like everything's rusted on this thing. Poor girl. But that's pretty much what I carry. If you can't have a sweet setup, have friends that have the sweet setup, because they'll get you out of trouble.
And again, if you're only fixing, you know, most people are only going to fix their own rigs. So carry spare U-joints for your rig. Carry that stupid track bar bolt that always falls out.
Yeah, and I used to have in here, but I think I actually used it. But I had a whole rebuild kit for the front end.
Yeah, spare hub, because hubs break easy. And it's just odds and ends like that for your own rig if you're going to be doing a lot of your own trail repairs.
One thing I highly recommend, too, that I actually got, but I haven't put in here yet, is some snap ring pliers. If you're gonna
Snap ring pliers are one piece everybody forgets.
yeah, because then you're sitting there doing it with 2 screwdrivers, one hand behind your back, and your wind's blowing sideways. You're kind of angry.
And then you stick yourself.
Yeah.
And then you're really angry.
And then you got to bust into the first aid kit.
Yeah.
Thank goodness we had that thing.
But
But yeah, see, look, I got more rat straps than I thought I had.
You're prepared. You're ready.
By golly. Oh, yeah.
oh.
One thing, though. If you don't have a funnel,
Yeah.
just a water bottle, and then you kind of give her one of those. Pull your rig that keeps the inside clean out.
We actually clean both of our rigs out, but normally we each carry a cooler as well. And basically just go to the store and get the bulk case of bottled water and put that in there, whether it's warm or cold. If that recovery that you're doing ends up supposed to be a half hour and ends up being 6 hours, you're going to be really happy you got some water. I like to carry water, iced teas, and maybe a few sodas or something that's got a lot of caffeine in it to get me back home
Yeah,
again.
you know, like 16,000 energy drinks.
Yeah.
A bag of chips. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really handy, too, if you, like, hide snacks and you forget about it.
And on top of that, if you're going snow wheeling, bring warm clothes. If you're going for the rest of the year, bring a jacket or two. Raincoat, I think I keep a raincoat behind my seat because it always rains.
Yeah, I wing it half the time. But, like, if I kind of prepare, I'll throw a raincoat in. But there's been times I've been out there in a sweatshirt.
You always have to have stickers.
I do have a Sawzall on the back seat.
A Sawzall?
Yeah.
Oh.
I do carry
Flashlights, yep.
flashlight.
Never too many flashlights.
Never gonna have too many flashlights. Oh, see what I was talking about? Hiding snacks. It's the pink thing of Starburst. No mice get into it. I bet you those suckers are prime right now. And one thing I do carry also is plastic bags. And,
Plastic bags and even like gloves and stuff.
yeah, and I do have some of these like Nertile gloves like that. But you never know what a guy needs a bag for. And normally if you need a bag, it's going to be for something greasy,
Yeah,
oily,
with the greasy rags or greasy parts into
or
it.
something grosser. But
Even for picking up like broken glass off of trailers and stuff. It works good.
you know what this is good for? If you lock your keys in your car. See, you got the little bent end and you got a straight end. So you got your pushing and your pulling.
Lockout kit.
Just as long as I don't lock myself out of this thing.
And yeah, all in all, if you know the job you're doing, think about it, bring the tools you'll need. If you don't, just carry a array of random stuff like Sterling or carry everything like I do. You should be able to get yourself out. But yep, winch, lockers, lights.
Oh yeah, that's what I forgot to say. Is I do have, I guess it's an air locker in the
You
rear,
got an ARB in the back.
and then it's welded in the front. So when she's in 4-wheel, she wants to go, but right now she's sad cheese pizza on the front end.
yeah, front end's a little broken.
Yeah, I tried to be super cool. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna drive up this hill, and I put it in 4-wheel, and we made it almost to the top, and then it sounded like, I don't even know, like Wheel of Fortune when they spin it.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
But changes, whatever, you know, stuff's gonna change.
Yeah, in a nutshell, that's some
And
of the things.
if you don't have all this stuff and you're in the area, give us a call.
Call us, we'll show up with stuff and parts and things, because this is just what we carry in these two rigs, because I also do recoveries with that Jeep over there, and he also does recoveries with a full-size Chevy over there, and they've both got a bunch of the same stuff, recovery gear and tools and odds and ends.
And chainsaws.
So
I have a chainsaw for every rig.
I just recommend going prepared. Something to keep in mind if you're in a Jeep, SUV of any kind, where your tools are in the back with you. Soft bags, like an old power tools bag or something of that just, is a lot better to carry in there than like a steel ammo can. Or even use a plastic tote or something like that, one of those little action packer totes or something would be good. Because when you roll over, think about what you want hitting you in the head.
Definitely not a metal ammo can.
Definitely not an ammo can. So, yeah. All in all, go out there prepared, and
What is
just go out there.
What do they say? Prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Or just call Eureka Off-Road.
Yeah, you can call Eureka Off-Road. All I say is be prepared with bratwurst. and nothing can go south.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah, I hope you found this educational,
Um,
informative, entertaining.
and if you ever have internet problems or telephone problems, go ahead and call Interbell Telephone Company. They'll come on out there and they've got all the tools to fix your internet and telephone.
Yep, it's like,
On the truck already.
yeah, not on this truck though.
Good night everybody.
We're not limited by geography. We are in rural America, but providing the best fiber optic internet that you can find anywhere. We're able to do things here that you can do anywhere in the world, and we get to live in places that look like this.